Thank you all. If you've seen my biography or something, as an autonomous systems expert, you must say, well, this is some guy that's getting rid of all of our jobs, right? Making things automated and so on. And in fact, that's what you do. But when you define something, you can outsource it first, right? You outsource our food, our clothes, so many things. And then if we can define it very precisely, we can automate it, isn't it? But it is not just my story. It is actually the story of all of us. Because as we define things, we are going from the vague to the less vague. And hopefully, from the insecure to the more secure, at least in perception, isn't it? And there are many, many terms, that you might have all listened to in the course of all the talks here. What is God, for example? What is civilization? What are all these different terms? What is happiness? And some of you must have, listened to the violin concert and felt some happiness at some point. Can you actually define it? How do you define it in a fashion that is consistent? And that leads us to the next topic. When do you know that what something is telling you is actually, makes sense or can correspond to anything in this world? And we all do this by counting, right? And measuring, in fact, is a subset of counting. And if we come to the idea of consistency, it's easy to see what it is not. As soon as you see all of these things out here, 1 equals 2, I am 1, you are 1, the 2 of us are 1, and then the Pope is 1, so the 3 of us are 1, isn't it? If you have 1 equals 2, you can sort of prove anything if you want to. And how do you distinguish these things from things that actually can exist in the world? So you look at all these pictures, your brain goes into a big loop, and you don't know what's going on, isn't it? And how do you handle these things? If you saw 1 equals 1, it's not going to cause those problems. So even though we are starting here, you can have a story that is consistent, like a ghost story, but it may not be true, right? It may not be correct. Once I went into a house that was supposed to be haunted at the age of 8, and a whole bunch of my classmates followed behind because it was in the lunch recess at school. And I went in and found a big hornet's nest. That was the only thing I found. Fortunately, I didn't step on it because Asian hornets are quite dangerous. So how do you know something is correct? That part depends on measurement, isn't it? We measure everything as plus or minus something, so all our conclusions about the world are also plus or minus something. It's never perfect. But we're always, starting from some first principles. Where do we start from? Because all reasoning, starts from some premises. Where do we start from? And we hold these things to be self-evident. These are our common beliefs. We all believe that there is a consistent existence underlying perception. Because these two beliefs out here are things that you cannot deny without contradicting yourself, all right? But what are these beliefs? What do you mean by saying consistent? Because that's the basis of science, isn't it? Unified physical theory and so on. What do you mean by saying there is a consistent existence? You're saying that whatever you're experiencing now is consistent with what you're going to experience in the next microsecond and consistent with what you experienced in the previous microsecond, while the Earth has been moving so many kilometers, right, with the solar system around the sun and so on. So both of these beliefs about ourselves, that we can will and feel, and that there is a consistent existence, is an uncountable number of beliefs. So we are adding, one belief every moment, pretty much. And I wanted to take out the notion of will and feeling out of the realm of mysticism. So what is will? I choose to look at the screen. I choose to look at you. It is just the selection of a property of existence to detect, isn't it? What is consciousness? I'm not saying I know how they work and how they operate and all that. I'm just saying, what is it operationally, when I will? What is it operationally when I feel, or what is consciousness? It is simply the frequency of detections. How many things am I detecting? I'm detecting all these faces, some strongly, some lightly, and so on. Now, what do these things prove? What do we hold these things to be self-evident? What does that prove, That all men are created equal. What does this mean, really? We are not born equal. We know that. But the fact that we can choose, I can, toss this around or not, right? But the solar system cannot do that. This floor cannot do that. And we know that anything that is finite is subject to finite causation, isn't it? It can be moved around. So we get this interesting conclusion. The subject that is acting through the finite instrument of this body cannot possibly be finite, because we are able to choose. And that is the basic paradox out here, because the body obviously is finite and is subject to a lot of problems. The other side of this is we can actually follow logic. We all believe we can follow logic, don't we? And that is how Socrates, showed, with the help of a young slave boy in the marketplace in ancient Athens, that all men are created equal. What he did was he got that illiterate slave boy with no education at all to show that the diagonal of the square produces a square twice the area of the square. All right? So he actually showed that. So in the middle of the marketplace, in the slave-owning aristocratic society, he proved that all men are created equal, using the very basis of inequality, right? Because the Greeks thought, they're superior, and that's why they're the Greeks and they're the slaves, isn't it? So Socrates was using that very basis to disprove this idea. So that's why, he was accused of corrupting the youth and therefore given the hemlock. And anybody of you that wants to try this, look at other examples in history. Jesus Christ said, "Ye are gods." So he was using scripture to disprove the hereditary privilege of those priests. And, you can see where that got him. All right? Now, what are we endowed with, right? We're all created equal because infinities cannot be compared. The only thing that we're endowed with is self-preservation, isn't it? And how do you preserve yourself? You've got to know more and more and more. So getting more knowledge, getting more understanding of the levers of how to control the world, makes our environment more predictable, our life more predictable. And naturally, the advancement of the self-preservation is progress. So you have a definition here. Again, what is the good? Anything that increases our basic objective function, makes us more secure, has to be the good, increases our knowledge. The opposite, that which increases, makes us more ignorant, has to be evil. All right? And what exactly are we trying to preserve? I had a couple of props out there, but looks like we've missed them. And what are we trying to preserve out here? You have all sorts of things. You have the stage, you have this object out here, you have the stage, you have the solar system. All of them sort of try to preserve themselves, right, to external perturbations. I can't just dig through this floor by kicking it. So what is really the difference between all of these things, the crystal, the tree, the cow, and all of these different complicated creatures? Is there much of a difference? Or there isn't? Because if I look at something as simple as this, ball in a box, it's got 1 degree of freedom. The ball always goes to the bottom, right? It preserves its configuration. The only difference between the living system of the crystal and us is we've got trillions and trillions of states that we're preserving. And our self-preservation, I guess, has a lot more states that we're preserving. Even the solar system maybe is not as complicated as the human body in this sense. But in a mathematical sense, we cannot really distinguish from the floor that preserves itself and the human being. The only difference is that we've got more states. All right? And how exactly do we go about preserving that life? So, of course, we need to have more knowledge, we need to have more working memory, and we need to make our decisions really quickly. And if you're able to do that at the individual level, how do you do it? If you're able to will faster and feel fast, feel more things at the same time, you're able to use more knowledge in real time to protect yourself. And this, I guess, got drilled into me when I was in my 6th grade. I had gone out from school to a local irrigation tank to have lunch and look at the fish in the tank and play around and so on. I guess get some free fruit from the plants around. And I'd parked my bike somewhere and was walking around the water. So a bunch of 12 or more feral dogs came after me. I realized, if there are 1 or 2 dogs, I can beat them up or do something. But this was a dozen or more, and I just ran to my bike as fast as I could, and I biked as hard as I could for about maybe 3/4 of a mile before I hit the main road. And I had to be all attention, on the road and everything else, because if it was pure countryside, and if the bike fell or something, I guess I wouldn't be here, right? But interestingly, by the time I was safe, for the next few days, I was sort of in the zone, My brain was working so efficiently for all that time because of that effort of focus, right, in saving my own life. So that, if you're able to be in this focus state, we are obviously able to free ourselves in the moment, right? But how do you go further as society, isn't it? That's even more difficult. How do you do it? You have to have checks and balances, because most people are only good when it's easier to be good than to be evil. If somebody beats you up, you give him a little punch or a slap on the wrist, then he stops and becomes your friend. And again, what are my dreams for the world overall? How do you continue to define more things more precisely so we are more secure? Get rid of point charges, get rid of point masses, get rid of infinite densities and other such things in science. There is still a long, long way to go before we get there, and we'll never get it perfect. Commoditize everything. If somebody was protecting a whale, meaning if somebody could make money off milking a whale, then they're more likely to protect it from all the poachers, all right? And of course, let us stop fighting economics with law and focus on helping all kinds of victims of natural disasters, of crimes, and all sorts of things. Thank you.